Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the birthday beauty herself, Sandy Reevy. Say hi.
Hey from Bali, everyone.
It is episode 243, March 20th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we start off today with Sun sextile Pluto.
Renewed energy.
And same day, Sun ingress Aries.
Hot and promising.
Tuesday, March 21st, new moon at 0 degrees of Aries.
We double down on beginning.
And Sandy's Astro-Interesting day, Thursday, March 23rd, Pluto ingress Aquarius.
For the next 20 years, a new shift in error, the error of society.
And Saturday, March 25th, Mars ingress Cancer.
Find your cause.
Then we have many talisman times coming up. They are all going to be made in Bali. So we will discuss some, and there will be a link to see all of the other ones. Then on the horizon, we have our April forecast coming up March 25th, as well as our 2023 Amargos Greece retreat. Then in our house, listen in as Sandy and I catch up from across the globe. Sandy is enjoying her birthday in Bali, and I am holding down the fort in Chicago. Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you.
Hello, birthday beauty. Happy birthday.
I am getting my beautiful, calm character to return to me.
the Balinese beauty is begetting.
Oh my gosh.
Very becoming on you.
Thank you. It's a long, long trip, but so worth it. And it really does check you on kind of your body and your attitude and your character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good lesson to learn every year, which is why I like coming here every year. And I certainly have missed this the last 4.
Right.
So, yeah.
So for all you listeners, Sandy is coming in from Bali, Indonesia, since she is heading there early to celebrate her birthday. And then I will soon follow after, and we will host the April retreat in Bali. So I'm also speaking from Chicago, holding down the fort. So I want to go direct to all of the listeners and say thank you so much for sending in your feedback. We do have one special one. It is a little bit longer, but I think it's a very cool message. So we have this message from Ellen from Norway. And she says, I had come to the US for a yearly event with Beth Davis, where I met Sandy and her beautiful intention beads. Every break in the conference, I would visit her and her beads since I had found a talisman bracelet I really liked. For 3 days, I was swirling around with no intention to buy, actually. I was just fascinated. But the last day, when Sandy was packing up to leave, I suddenly felt a rush of panic through my body and knew that I needed to have it. Sandy explained the importance of the intention, but I told her that it had nothing to do with me or my intention, and I wanted to buy it only because I liked it. Sandy told me that buying her talisman is not just a regular purchase. It needs to be initiated to the new owner. And she said, repeat after me. My intention is to exhibit artistic intensity. I express my emotions through my art. Then suddenly I burst into tears, to the extent that I had problems talking as tears were streaming down my cheeks. I was totally taken by surprise. The remaining part of the intention was just as powerful to me. I easily reveal the inner depths of my soul. My work is impressive. That initiation was an emotional reset for me, and I felt a holy act had occurred within myself. I decided to join Beth Davis's year-long program, Life Purpose Mastery, even though I knew my life purpose was a spiritual teacher and an artist to be in the spotlight. I was deaf towards the artistic part of that, though. It took me a few months before realizing I had been in total denial of my artistic side for 24 years. That next year, daily, I practiced my intention and affirmation with my talisman, speaking it aloud. This ritual gave me consistent attention to my art and integrated the artist within me. During the year-long program I was a part of, I started doing ceramics and later painting. My work ended up in an art exhibition show in LA created just for me. Now I sell paintings in the US and Norway. I have a Facebook group and an emerging Instagram account. I love my intention bead bracelet and the sweetest Sandy who made it. For my next talisman, it will be a personal intention. A message from me to others listening. A beautiful intention bracelet is likely to upload your frequency and take you on a path closer to yourself. I would highly, highly recommend it. That is from Ellen in Norway. So shout out to you, Ellen. Thank you so much for sending that in.
Seriously, I remember that and she was so sweet. She would come by and said, I just want to look. She would spend hours there.
Well,
But yeah, and I've seen her work since, and she sent me photos, and
very
man,
cool.
people just buying them up, and she's getting great satisfaction, right? And know that this healing work of her painting is an expression of this intensity that she owned, that she had totally blocked.
Wow.
Totally
cool.
closed the door on. Yeah.
And it's so insane too that the blockages are usually ourselves, right? And we just have to start breaking through those boundaries to realize what is next and what is possible. Yeah. So thank you so much for sending that in. Anyone else with a story, with feedback, please email me, alex@intentionbeads.com. So let's move into the transits, where we have a light week. However, pop the bottles of champagne because it is the Astrological New Year. Woohoo!
Can we just briefly talk about last week?
Sure.
You know, if I go back into, there were about 3 or 4 squares. There were a lot of conjunctions. There was just, and the squares just caused stress. Did we not express or experience, international stress, right? The financial world, Venus, in Pisces and in Aries, things just kind of looking like they were going to collapse. The unveiling of a structure that was not secure. And just, what I just read recently, just I think when I woke up this morning in Bali, is that there's an international arrest out for Putin for the war crimes in Ukraine. It's just like so much was happening last week. I'm in a couple of study groups, and the astrologers a couple of weeks were going, hey, how's everybody going to spend that week of squares? Like, how are you going to prepare for the just the pressure, just constant. There is no release from it, as we talk, as we record this a little bit earlier, then we release it on Monday morning, that by the time that everybody hears this, this could be in our rear view mirror, because we're looking at new things ahead, right? Because it's a new year, a new astrologically new year, a new moon. We'll talk about that in a minute.
And spring has sprung.
In that 29-degree aspect that we were experiencing last week was very, very detrimental to a lot of situations in the world. And just, one of the, like I was saying, the study group, we're like, how are you going to spend that? What's everybody going to do that week of all the squares? And I'm like, I'm going to Bali.
That's
water and pool. I'm going to be sitting on the lanai. I'm going to be in my eating meringue goreng. And so, yeah, although it was, it was happening, I was able to be away from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be away.
So let's start this week, and we'll start by saying happy Astrological New Year. We'll start with Monday, March 20th, Sun sextile Pluto.
Renewed energy. This is in the International Astrology Day every year, which is kind of the beginning of the astrological year.
The New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So it's a perfect time at this kind of last hour of the year, the zodiacal year, that is, to find and engage more vitality into your being. My son, not my child, but my astrological
Sun sign
is sitting right here at 29 degrees of Pisces, and that's where the sun is, making the sextile to Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So, interesting that for my birthday, this will be the last time that Pluto and the sun will be on my sun until I'm 111 years old. So I want to grab this energy now, because I don't know what kind of body I'll be in at 100, right? So I wish everyone to bring this energy in to separate the last year, this last period of sun going through Aries all the way through the very last degree, the very last day of the zodiacal year. And, again, that's the day I was born, so that we can begin anew. And I think it's really important that we've got that sun making an sextile, a opportunistic aspect to Pluto. So renew your energy and drop the energy you no longer want. Pluto wants to help you, but wants to do it through a death and decay. So choose what you want to. What has decayed? What is turning to mush for you? Put it to the side, cut it, so that you can move on faster, more satisfying in a constructive force. Yeah.
Totally. That's a great thing. And it reminds me of the dentist appointment I had today. Had to get rid of the decay, had to put that filling in and put the medicine around it, and keep moving on. So
I love that. That's right. I forgot that was so yesterday for me.
Yes.
For you.
So let's move on to Sun ingress Aries.
Yeah, this is at 4:24 p.m. on Monday, the 20th. Hot and promising. So the sun moves into the place, his place of exaltation. The sun loves being in the hot sign of Aries, spring equinox. So we begin again. And here in Bali is when they celebrate the Oga Oga or Ogo Ogo. I'm learning. I got schooled here by Koman.
Good.
I like to add an A on the end of it, and it's an O on the end of it. So Ogo Ogo. That's when they scare away all the spirits from the with monsters that they make. So again, get rid of the negative parts of you, the energy, those spirits that have come to descend on you that are hard to carry by the end of the year. So again, hot and promising, finding at spring equinox, moving forward.
Yes.
So just to reiterate what we were just talking about.
And so let's move on to Tuesday, March 21st, the new moon at 0 degrees of Aries.
Check this out. This is at 12:23 p.m. We doubled down on beginning, right? The night before, the afternoon prior to this, is the sun moving into Aries. And then right after, around noon the next day, the moon moves in. So this really says double down, set intentions for the new year. It's like the sun and the moon, the luminaries, the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine have gathered together to set a seed in a pod that helps you set intentions. So, we think about January 1st, the Gregorian year to set intentions. Again, that wasn't the time to do it this year because we were having Mars doing a lot of retrograde stuff.
Right.
And then I said the end of February. But if you were to renew your intentions now on this day and at 12:23 p.m. Chicago time on Tuesday, the 21st, set intentions, man. This is the one for the new year. It can be a bit tense and not so convincible, but yet transformative, because we still have that Mars making a square to both the sun and the moon. But, again, as I said, I'm comparing a lot of things to Bali, and this is their new year, which is called Nyepi, Yepi, about the being in silence. It's a whole day, 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. the next day is a day of silence. No one talks, no one cooks.
No one looks at videos on their phone.
The phones are turned off. There's no frequencies, no music, no TV. Everybody is in silence so that the spirits don't return. So do a little bit of Nyepi for yourself if you can. I mean, I know it's a day in the States, but here it's a major holiday. Airplanes are closed.
And it can be like a tech detox. Just turn off the phone, let your loved ones know that you're going to be off grid for a little bit and enjoy just the silence, enjoy a meditative state. It would be nice.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Thursday, March 23rd, which is Sandy's astrologically interesting day.
Yeah, because Pluto moves into a new sign. Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, when Pluto, the transformer, has been transforming Capricorn type things, structured things, old, what we considered reliable structures. And sure enough, as soon as we got to that in 2008, when Pluto went into Capricorn, we got that financial destruction and the collapse. And here we are bookending it with a possible financial collapse that we were just talking about last week, So it's bookend. Now Pluto does move into Aquarius at 0 degrees, and it only stays there and moves back into Capricorn to finish some of the duties, because he won't be back in Capricorn for about 230 years, which, c'est la vie. We will not be here. But for the next 20 years, he is going to hit some new eras in the societal form, because Aquarius is about society, about humanitarianism, about the human beings, about clean water, what we are born as our rights. Our born rights, we were all made equal, right? Regardless, we have a heart, we have a right. And so I really think we're going to see a lot of science and technology. They're going to either adapt to the ways, or they're going to die from the destruction. Climate control, we'll think about any kind of societal organizational politics, so understand, and it's almost important to have a voice, where you may have wanted to just quiet your voice and let others speak for you, right? But now we've got another 20 years of speaking our voice, and I'm happy to be in my late 60s to know what I want for the rest of my life, right? Or you at 35, wanting what you want for the next 20 years until you're 55. So speak out, because this is a complete and permanent change to our society. So, do we sit back and watch, or do we take the reins and gallop forward?
That's a great vision. I like it.
Right?
It's powerful.
In going through the fog and going through the dark, I'm thinking about, Tony Robbins, who makes you go over fire, right? Run through fire. right?
Yep.
And people do. Well, they
Mhm.
trust that running through fire. It's kind of like that. Just take your reins and move forward through. So take part in the areas that you believe to be your future. Earth shift into air share. So think about that. Earth shifts into air share. It's not what you have. It's not who you are. It's about what you are to the other people and what other people are to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, this will be a big, I mean, this will just watch how this occurs, particularly over as we are now, March 23rd till June 11th, because Pluto will then go back into Capricorn. So he starts retrograding about that time.
And so let's move on to Saturday, March 25th, Mars ingress Cancer.
So Mars finally, since August, way back in August of 2022, Mars moved into Gemini, where he normally stays for 6 weeks in a sign. But he retrograded at 25 degrees of Gemini, went back to 8 Gemini, and is slowly plodding through and finishes with the entirety of Gemini. So that was August through the end of March. So Mars takes a shift, and Mars goes from a sign that he doesn't have a whole lot of power or dignity in.
Right. Not a lot of grip.
But he moves into Cancer, where he's in fall. So now he has no authority. He has what's called fallen down the well authority. So he needs other people's assistance, right? You need a hand to help, a rope or something, a ladder, an arm stretching you to help other people pull you up. So find your cause. Yes. Because be for all your cause. This could be about caring families, the feminine, female, moon, the moon rules Cancer, where Mars just is visiting. So this is going to be a new shift in energy with Mars. Mars, and I even think
it could be a lot about like gender equality, and Mars kind of taking on the cause of bringing up the women's rights, as a masculine figure.
Yeah. So we're going to be it's like no more fumbling around in the unsuredness. I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and follow people. I don't really know what I'm doing. That's Mars and Gemini. Too many choices, right? Gemini. But really, Mars here falls from grace, right? So we have to think, does a major authority figure, Martian, somebody that was starting a fight, let's think about that Russia. Let's think about what we just talked about earlier in this call, where it was, this possible, situation
war crime, right?
Of war crime. Does a major figure get into trouble here?
Right.
Do we already have a little, puff on what that could be? So this will be something to pay attention to, everybody.
Right. So maybe not so many transits, but a big week for sure. Let's move into talisman times. You don't have any finished yet, but there are some upcoming.
Who would make a talisman last week?
Right. So the Bali talismans are all going to be made in Bali. There are a couple special ones in the beginning, because that is Nyepi Day in Bali. That's the day of silence. And those two are to have many opportunities to advance my public reputation, and the other one to seek a higher belief in religion or spirituality. So these are going to be really wonderful talismans that are on pre-sale. Make sure to head over to the website. I'll include the link in the show notes. Also, other talismans like to enhance fertility, to attract dignity, and to increase personal vitality. These are all going to be Bali talismans, which we are very excited about, because Bali is such a sacred land. So let's
remind everyone that we haven't said something to, I am in just north of Ubud, but it's still considered Ubud, just a village outside. And, again, I was reminded of this, that Ubud means medicine. And it was a medicine man that came here and discovered that this is the land that he wanted to, to enrich and build on and live. And he was a medicine man because he found, and his name was Ubud.
Oh,
And yeah, and they named it after him because he was the medicine man. So that's what it means. So think about these
very cool.
pre-sale talismans that, I mean, last time I was here, I did a ton of talismans for people because I brought a bit of this medicine back because it being made here. So, there's some really yummy situations coming up next week that you could get your medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, those pre-sale talismans, you do get to help with the direction of the style and the color. So let's move on the horizon, where we just finished up our astrology webinar with Sandy and Susan. That is the Saturn in Pisces and the Pluto Aquarius webinar. That is complimentary when you join our Patreon community. So click that link and you can start a free Big Dipper trial and check out that whole webinar for free. Also, our April forecast is coming up on March 25th at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. That's because Sandy is going to be coming in from Bali at nighttime around 9:30 p.m. And also, previous announcement that in September, we are having our Greece retreat, and that is on Amargos Island. We would love for you to join. The page is almost up. So go ahead, click that in the show notes and check to see if it is, all that information is there and ready and waiting for you.
And just, not to toot anybody's horn, but there's only like 1 or 2 spaces left.
Yes, that is
true. And we will have to close it, and we're 6 months ahead. So
it is true.
If you're really considering it, reach out.
Yes. So also, let's quick get into our house because I know you do have to go soon. But how is Bali? Tell the listeners, how is everything going over there?
Well, I don't know if you've got me on noise canceling headphones kind of situation here, but listening to the pools, water, overflow. It's over the edge. What is that?
Infinity pool.
Infinity pool. The rice paddies. I mean, just eating May goreng every day, fresh watermelon juice or fresh banana juice. Those are my 2 faves. Just living in this area is, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm with the stars every night. And of course I'm on the other side of the world, right? So I'm seeing they're repositioned in the sky, still in proportion to one another. I have a really cute story. Well, I've got a bunch of cute stories, but I know we are on a time frame here. 2 things. I have to buy an oven here. I used to carry my oven in here to Bali in one of our suitcases, right? And we would get stopped at customs, and they thought, oh, we're going to sell this used, kind of dented in, and it was like, okay, right. Don't bring
or toaster oven smugglers.
Yeah. So I started buying them here and then leaving them here with the people here, because it's a rarity for people to have ovens here. They don't have burners. So we go to Bintang, which is the big supermarket where I always get my toaster oven, and we go in with Susanti and Koman and Rendra, and so I'm headed over to where I know where they are, and Susanti comes back and she says, my cousin works here, and she just said, no, they don't have any toaster ovens. And I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to find a toaster oven? Because they're rare here.
Yeah.
And nobody has ovens. So it's not like I can go to my Airbnb and get an oven, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden she's running down the aisle, talking Balinese, and says, oh, she just found one in the back. She just found one in the back. So she brings it out, open it to make sure, it's all the
parts are there.
Oh, Alex, it's hot pink.
Oh.
Oven is this big square box. It's not like a rectangular. It's different than a toaster oven. It's taller. And the first thing that came to my mind was, And she goes, I mean, it's pink. Do you want it? And I'm like, yes, it's my easy bake oven from when I was 8 years old.
I did love my easy bake oven.
I will have to take a picture of it for you, and you'll have to post it here because it's hilarious that I have a pink. I wish I could bring it home, but I don't think it's too big to fit in the oven. But anyway, that's my one funny story. And then we got invited to a wedding.
Right.
You know, one of the things you want to do in Bali, if you're ever so lucky, is go to their two most precious, I guess, ceremonies. They do a lot of ceremonies here, and there's always holiday, more than the Catholic religion, which I think is a lot, right? But they do it as a whole island. And so I've been to 2 cremations. I went to a private cremation, and then the someone in the king's palace,
the public one. Mm-hmm.
The public one I went to, which was massively big and tall. Yeah. So I've been
multiple
to 2
stories
in my life, but we get here, Jay and I get here, and Koman picks us up and he says, I'd like to welcome you to a wedding on March 24th at 6 a.m. So we have to dress the traditional Balinese way. So Susanti took us the other day kind of far away to where all the Balinese buy their costumes, right? Where the bride bought her costume, where all the attendants and guests. So, and these are called kabayas, you know, the lace, long sleeve lace kind of snaps together in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sarong. Well, what we didn't know is the skirts they wear. They've made these sarongs in the, I guess, the 20th century way, instead of just this one big fabric that we're all familiar with a sarong and you tie it.
Right.
They're skirts. They've put elasticize that looks like you've just tied it, but it's really a skirt with elastic.
Nice.
So, and then Jay comes up to me as we're getting ready to, and I picked out mine. It's bright yellow kabaya with this darker, lower toned skirt, sarong skirt. And she came up to me and she said, I'd like to buy this for your birthday.
Oh, nice.
She almost brought tears to my eyes because it's something, you know, I've always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted a kabaya. So now it's part of my wardrobe, and she bought one too. And actually she's having hers made, and just like Jay, right, needs to have it made. We had to go then to the seamstress.
Nice.
And the whole idea is like, now we have dinnerware when we come back to Chicago. We were going to wear that out one night.
Oh, nice. There is a Balinese restaurant here in Chicago.
And what is, I forget, I think I know it.
I want to say it's Tuk Tuk, but I think that's the name of it, but I could be wrong.
Well, we're going. So get your kabayas and meet us at Tuk Tuk.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for sharing those stories. So excited to make my trip over to Bali and meet you there. So I think that's a wrap on this episode. Thank you everybody for listening in. Remember, give us those reviews, give us your feedback at alex@intentionbeats.com, and share our podcast with someone you love. Thank you everybody for listening in. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye everybody. Salamat pagi.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of